pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
From the track Too Tough to Tame, the Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series is ready to lay down laps at the Lady in Black. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Darlington, South Carolina, where some of the most famous names in motorsports have hoisted trophies in victory lane. Last week at Daytona, Brandon Minto punched his ticket to the 2023 playoffs with his first win of the season at the World Center of Racing. Now tonight, with just 2 races left before our playoffs begin, John Wilco of McAdoo, Pennsylvania, sits on the 12th position in our regular season standings and needs to have a solid run to seal the deal and secure his spot in round 1 of the playoffs. I'm Dave Regal here in the broadcast booth, and I'd like to thank you for making SRM a part of your evening, because I'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, as always, it is a pleasure to have you in with us tonight in our youtube.com live chat. Make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications, as things are just starting to heat up here as we are underway. Looks like Dcash Video's already in here. Hello, Dave. It's good to see you as well, Mr. Gangler. Of course, Alexander Gangler, driver of the number 82. And it looks like he has already He has he has gone out and run his qualifying laps, but neither of them counted. Going to take a look at Matt Mettler, survivor of the most recent Florida hurricane, as I was just talking to him before going on air a moment ago. He nearly scrapes the wall coming out of what looks to be turn 2. And this is a very unique racetrack. In fact, I want to see one of these drivers come through and do this. In fact, we'll go up here to the blimp view as we look at Ethan Ball's number 96 Celsius Chevrolet Camaro as he goes down the backstretch. Now you're going to see him stay pretty close to that high side here, maybe dropping down just a little bit into that first groove from the wall. But basically that's where all the speed is going to live tonight here at Darlington. And it actually is a little bit of a double whammy coming into 1 and 2 as we see him dive into 1. He comes back up to the wall. You burp the throttle a little bit and come down again as you roll it out of turn 2. Of course, you know, this is NASCAR's first super speedway. We'll talk about that at some length, I'm sure, this evening, as that Celsius Camaro comes out of turn 3 and 4. We see him once again staying high up against the wall. He may have made contact on that first lap, and as he comes in, he's going to qualify 12th on our leaderboard. Rich Jett still waiting to come out on his opening lap. Folks, you'll have to forgive me as the old windpipe here is a little scratchy tonight. Just getting over some kind of a cold that ran through the house. Not sure what it was, but safe to say that I'm just getting, you know, that sense of smell back and so on and so forth. So we're glad that that's hopefully over with now. Going to take a look right now at our race info. Of course, we see 83 degrees if you're in the stands here, and I'll tell you what, that is nice and comfortable up there. We're going to also see everything going on tonight here at Darlington. A total of 147 blistering fast laps as we go through tonight. Stage 1 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 45. Stage 2 going to end at lap number 90. 6 total sets of tires with 5 changes, so they'll be laying 5, running a total of 6 sets. And believe you me, at a place like this, the racing surface is like a cheese grater, and with 110 degrees on the asphalt, I believe very strongly that we are going to see a lot of tire changes. Definitely going to see some tire changes before needing fuel here at Darlington. And as mentioned in our open, Brandon Minto getting his first win of the season last week. And we can see right here that top 12 that are shaded in red-orange here on the left-hand side of your screen. That top 12, if the regular season were to end tonight, would be making it into the playoffs. Now, right now, John Wilco sits on the bubble. He's 26 points behind R.P. Allen and about 60 points ahead of Alexander Gangler. So Gangler going to be driving for that rear bumper of his teammate from All Smiles Racing, John Wilco. And I'll tell you what, those guys over at All Smiles are a really unique bunch of guys. I mean, you can see a lot of these race teams in our playoffs. Now, we'll take a note right here at Eugenio Alonso. Eugenio Alonso has not run in quite some time, so we may see him bumped from our playoffs, which could be good for Gangler, you know, as well as, you know, some of the other Jack Dow talent that is out in the field. Tony Burt here, sitting 15th, needs to all but win either tonight here at Darlington or next week at Kansas, and I don't see Tony here on our leaderboard, so we may not see him take a run at the Lady in Black tonight. But like I said, if the playoffs were to begin this evening, those 12 drivers would absolutely be in. And, you know, we'll take a look here as we go through the evening as to what's in store for our schedule going into the playoffs. Of course, next week we'll be over at Kansas for the Kansas Lottery 300 at Kansas Speedway. Then the playoffs open at Bristol. It is night racing at Bristol, baby, for the Food City 300. followed by the Andy's Frozen Custard 300 at Texas Motor Speedway. So we go from a short track to a mile and a half, and then an off week in October, which actually works out nice because the off week will be the same night that I'll be coming back from Myrtle Beach, just a short drive away from here at Darlington. And then round one is going to conclude for the BCBS North Carolina 250 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but that's going to be at the Roval, so kind of a wild card. So as we get deeper here into these playoffs, we're going to see some interesting things moving on. Just trying to figure out what's going on here with our overlay as it will not get off the screen. You have to bear with me, folks, as things are all of a sudden trying to get a little cattywampus here on our broadcast. Just a couple of graphical difficulties, because why not? There we are. That makes a lot more sense. So anyway, Brandon Minto, we're going to take a look right here at him as we get right down here, as he is in that Oklahoma University paint scheme. Of course, college football in week 2 action. That OU paint scheme looking pretty good. We'll talk about Oklahoma University, as that it was almost where the great Troy Aikman went to college. Of course, we talked about it last week, but I'm always excited to talk more about it. And we see the Northwestern Medicine paint scheme here on Alexander Gangler's machine. Bennett Allen in his West Virginia Mountaineers number 15 JCTV broadcasting Chevrolet Camaro. And as always, this league is very Chevy heavy. And folks, I cannot state this enough. There is exactly one Toyota in the field tonight, and it's John Crow Sr. His Toyota Supra, of course, the only Toyota in the field tonight, and just 2 Ford Mustangs, one belonging to John Wilco and the other belonging to Dan Morgan. So kind of an interesting switch here. And as soon as we go out, one of our most dedicated Toyota drivers, Mr. Chris Claude, chief cook and bottle washer of the SNN Cup Series, I can't wait to show you his paint scheme, as well as the fact that he is driving in that Chevrolet chassis tonight as well. So a couple of interesting changes there for everybody tonight. Davis Warren in his debut tonight in the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series in a Darlington Raceway Chevrolet Camaro. Ooh! As that would be the end of his warm-up session, if you will. With about 1 minute and 10 seconds, we're going to see if we can grab Brandon Minto here. Hey, Brandon, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
I gotcha.
Hey, buddy, listen, a good run for you tonight. And, I mean, you know, you finally secured that win last week at Daytona. How are you feeling as we get ready to rock and roll?
I'm a little excited. Darlington, it's not one of my best tracks, but I enjoy running it because it takes a lot of thought. And if you miss your break point, I don't know if you had just put me on camera or not, but I slammed the wall into one because I was too busy talking in the Discord. But it just takes a lot of thought and practice, and I put quite a few practice laps in this week.
Yeah, we caught you just after that happened, just after you got your Darlington stripe here in warm-up. Thank goodness they rebuff these things before you go green.
Oh, absolutely. Or else I'd be pretty screwed on my right front. I hit it pretty hard. I think it was a little more than Darlington stripe.
Yeah, Darlington is definitely one of those racetracks where we have the most trouble trying to, keep the car clean. What do you think your keys to the race are going to be tonight?
Saving tires, saving the right front as much as possible, getting that late turn in to get down to the bottom of the track, sliding up, and then on exit, being able to get down to the bottom of the turn with that right front, having that right front grip will help out a lot. That's what I've been struggling with is I burned my right front off in the first 10 laps, so I'm just hurting the last 20, 30 laps after that.
Well, I totally understand. Well, listen, you go ahead and grid up there, and we will see you probably. I'm sure we're going to see you near one of the end of these stages here.
Oh, I sure hope so. Boomer.
All right, brother. As that is the great Brandon Minto, our current points leader here, as he was hanging out with the Money House Racing crew. We'll send him back up there, unlike his normal Ferta Motorsports crew, waiting for our pole sitter, Bennett Allen, to get in the car. Bennett, get in the darn car. There we go. As we see here, our qualifying lineup, row 1 made up of Bennett Allen and brother R.P. Allen in the Liberty University number 7 Chevrolet Camaro. Row number 2 made up of John Crowe Sr. and Brandon Minto. Mike McConville and Aaron Mack make up row number 3 from Fort Riley, Kansas, in that Minnesota University paint scheme. Chris Claude in a Tennessee Volunteers number 10 Chevrolet Camaro. This is the first time in 3 years I can recall Chris being in a Chevrolet, so can't wait to get in touch with him. He'll be sitting alongside Mr. Matt Metler in his Mark Sykes Designs number 64 Ford Mustang, one of just 2 blue ovals in the field tonight. Trent Curtis and Chris Hansen make up row number 5, with row number 6 being comprised of Ethan Ball and Ron Fitting. Rich Jett gets the double natural from the St. John's University Hawks Chevrolet Camaro, with Davis Warren in 14th. John Wilco sitting on the inside of row number 8 with Cody McCorkle, his row partner. Row number 9 made up of Zachary Vaughn and Dan Morgan, and starting shotgun on the field in the Northwestern Medicine machine is Mr. Alexander Gangler. 147 laps tonight as the iRacing.com pace car dives down pit road. Ladies and gentlemen, grab some popcorn, call a friend, and settle in, because we are green flag racing at the Lady in Black, Darlington, South Carolina. A good start tonight here as R.P. Allen gets the jump. He's already got 4/10 of a second lead over brother Bennett. As the Allen brothers lead this piece, John Crowe Sr. running in 4th position, Aaron Mack back in 5th. The top 5, you can throw a blanket over them as they have already gone single file. Taking a look here at the number 13, running in 8th. That's Trent Curtis in his debut here in the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series. We can see after we go up here to the blimp, in fact, maybe we can get a better shot. You can see this entire field having gone single file, with the exception of right here toward the end. That's John Wilco getting around Ron Fitting for 17th position. So far, all of these racers getting themselves nice and settled in. You want to feel yourselves out. You don't want to be doing this too early. And you certainly don't want to be wrecking that equipment too early, especially at a place like Darlington. Taking a look at John Crow, he's already down one position from where he had started. As I had said earlier, folks, you'll have to forgive me just getting over a cold of some persuasion. And just trying to keep things from being completely deafening. Here's I'm trying desperately to keep my voice up. Rich Jett here looking to the inside of the 52. He gets a run here on Davis Warren. He's looking to the inside. This is going to be where Davis Warren gets a run out of the exit of 4. That puts the bumper of Rich Jett right on his rear, and Rich is going to have to really fight to be able to take that momentum here into 1 and 2. Rich Jett catching a piece of wall coming out of turn 2, followed by Zach Vaughn. As Rich, right where he started, still trying to chase down Davis Warren, will turn on the battle box. You can see that time start to eat at one another. Of course, one of the interesting things about Darlington Raceway is that this raceway is actually backwards from its original form. Of course, we know that it's a unique shape where 1 and 2 are, a little bit tighter, 3 and 4 wide and sweeping, and one of the interesting things there is the fact that, as they come out of 4 again, looks like Rich might finally have him here, as it's going to force Davis up. Rich is going to take that low line and just do-see-do around him and take that run. Zachary Vaughn has now seen how to get around Davis Warren, so that's going to change that, as all of a sudden the 62 dives low around him. So maybe Zach Vaughn trying to hang back a little bit later here as we're on lap 9, working our way toward lap number 45 at Darlington Raceway. Mike McConville Jr. in a throwback McDonald's paint scheme with the Reese's on that deck lid. He's currently running in 6th position. We take a look back at Trent Curtis in the 13. Again, another debut here as he is chasing down the commish, Mr. Chris Claude. Just 19 drivers taking the green flag tonight. Chris Claude trying to take down Trent Davis as he has about 0.2 of a second to the rear bumper of the number 13. Once again, I want to take a look here at Mike McConville in that McDonald's throwback paint scheme. Of course, the 94 harkening back to Awesome Bill, as Bill Elliott had run that 94 paint scheme for such a long time. In fact, I believe back in 92 it was when he had the Batman Returns paint scheme on that thing. And I'll tell you what, just a really cool, tip of the cap Amoco there on that left rear quarter panel. As much as, our sponsors need that attention today, for what they're selling, what we're supporting, it's still super exciting when we get to see a throwback paint scheme. Cody McCorkle, as we're going to get a chance here to check in with him in that per year driveforperyear.com state number 46 Chevrolet Camaro. It almost kind of looks like the old Caterpillar paint scheme that Ward Burton drove to Victory Lane in 2002 at Daytona International Speedway for the 500. And of course, Ron Fitting all season long has been, it's almost like the City Chevrolet from Days of Thunder, but, obviously updated. And I'll tell you what, it's kind of a cross between the City Chevrolet and John Deere, and it looks just really cool. Bennett Allen having opened up a lead over Brandon Minto of 0.8 of a second. Bennett is here just absolutely running a clinic, and let's ride along with him as he gets ready to complete this next lap. So go right here to the roll bar. Coming onto the front stretch, we're going to see how Brandon gets through this piece. Now, he sets himself up here, and we're going to hear him get off the throttle, and he's going to touch just down there in turn one, and now he brings that speed all the way back out. He's got to burp the throttle one more time, get back against the bottom of the racetrack, and slingshot his way out onto the backstretch wall. Obviously, he'll be standing on the throttle coming into the backstretch, but we're not going to see him take too low of a groove here, as just to where that dotted line is there on the left-hand side, that's where the racetrack starts to flatten back out. So it's almost like a mirage, so to speak. As we're about a third of the way through stage number one, these drivers have been driving extremely well so far. And we're gonna quick show you this here on our ticker across the top of your screen. All of these bow ties. Now, there's two Fords. They're running together in 13th and 14th. That's Matt Mettler and John Wilco in the 64 and the 62. And only one Toyota, and that belongs to John Crow Sr. So as I've been talking all night, this league has been Chevy heavy all season long, but obviously now just that much more obvious, so to speak. RP Allen looking to get around John Crow Sr. as RP now looking to the inside here. Kind of hangs it back up. Of course, Liberty University, the alma mater of William Byron from Hendrick Motorsports. Now, an interesting thing about Liberty University from our crack team of research analysts, or research analysts, sorry. It's Liberty University is located in Lynchburg, Virginia, and of course, not too far away from Lynchburg, Virginia, of course, not related to Lynchburg, Tennessee, where, of course, something amber and beautiful is made. But needless to say, Liberty University, a Christian faith-based university in Virginia, but always exciting. And I believe, if memory serves correct, also Michael Waltrip's daughter had gone there as well. I think she was a classmate of William Byron, if I remember. Like I said, folks, things are a little foggy tonight as we get underway. Taking a look at Cody McCorkle getting his way around Nick Hansen. Side by side coming out of turn 4. All of a sudden, Hansen getting the edge over McCorkle. C-Mac trying to get in there and get a run on him. And every time he does, it's almost like Hansen knows where he's going to be and takes away that run. It forces McCorkle to back off. And now all of a sudden McCorkle just shoots on by, as it looks like Hansen perfectly contentious, letting the double natural of Rich Jett and Cody McCorkle drive on by. As we're only 24 laps in, about 15 to go now. 22 to go here in stage number 1. I want to welcome everybody into our YouTube.com live chat as looks like Alex Princeton in this evening. Good evening, young man. Glad to have you here with us as always. Alex, are you running race control tonight? Not sure. Didn't see you in the chat earlier. And Deanna Piano cheering on CD. I assume Deanna Piano does not mean Charles Davis, because I don't think he's a race car driver, but you never know. Bennett Allen now has a 2.31 second lead over Brandon Minto, and he is just serving everyone their lunch here in the Palmetto State as he rolls it out of turn 2 one more time and comes down the back chute. Now, as he goes through the Boeing backstretch there, you know, I want to highlight the fact that the backstretch here at Darlington used to be the front stretch until a redesign several years ago. And, you know, it's an interesting kind of thing as Ron Fitting just got off the racetrack. Looks like Ron Fitting is coming in for 4 tires already, as that's going to put him a lap down for sure, as well as Alexander Gangler down a lap. As we're going to see if I can pull up that data. As, yeah, Ron Fitting still down on pit road. Not sure what's going on there with the 3 car. We'll see if we can dial him up on the radio. Hey, Ron, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, how's it going?
I guess pretty good up here, but what's going on with you down on pit road?
Oh, I don't know, man. I think I'm just pushing a little too hard. My tires are, I started losing the right front and kept banging the wall, and I figure I might as well just go in and see what the damage was and take a look at my tires, and sure enough, they were pretty low.
Well, you know, it's definitely not the kind of racetrack where you can afford to abuse your tires, as this thing's like a cheese grater. But, all right, man, well, listen, go out there, get boogieing, and we'll chat with you later.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
That, of course, the voice of Ron Fitting, driver of the number 3 Black Bullet Chevrolet. We're going to send him on back up there to the Black Bullet Racing chat. Bennett Allen in the West Virginia Mountaineers paint scheme tonight. He leads Brandon Minto by now 2.6 seconds and growing. As we can start to see, it may almost be time soon to pull up the tower instead of our ticker across the top of the screen, as some of these times are getting really strung out. I mean, Bennett's fastest time so far tonight has been 30.3 seconds. And his last lap, after just 31 laps, is already down 2 seconds even. So obviously, tire fall off a major factor tonight. Bennett Allen rolling out of turn number 4. Brandon Minto just behind him, with Zachary Vaughn running between the two, as Zach Vaughn right now would be your lucky dog. We're going to see what kind of distance between Dan Morgan Dan Morgan and Bennett Allen. As we can see, Bennett Allen slowly but surely closing in on him. And folks, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. Welcome back to Darlington Raceway. Bennett Allen, our race leader, with a 1.99 second, now 2 and more second lead over Brandon Minto. R.P. Allen running third right now as little brother Bennett leads this piece just behind Brandon Minto, as John Crow Sr. running in fourth, Mike McConville Jr. running in fifth, Cody McCorkle in sixth, Rich Jett in seventh, Nick Hansen in eighth, Ethan Ball and Trent Curtis rounding out your top 10. John Wilco, of course, as I had mentioned earlier, needs to have a good run tonight if he's going to keep trying to secure his playoff spot here in his Florida Atlantic University paint scheme on his Ford Mustang. John Wilco, of course, out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania. Little town up there in the coal regions, but Bennett Allen now getting ready to put Matt Metler down a lap, as there are now 5 drivers down laps without having come down pit road. Ron Fitting down laps simply because he came down pit road on lap number 24. Cody McCorkle looking to get around the 95 of John Crow, as John Crow down one spot after he qualified in third position. Brandon Minto closing the gap right now on Bennett Allen. Looks like right now Brandon Minto running just a little bit faster than Bennett Allen, as his last lap was 32.38, and now Allen's at 32.45. But that just is going to course correct itself, as it looks like Allen now running a 32.45 consistently. Still nobody running faster right now than Allen, with the exception of Ron Fitting, who just ran a 31.64. But of course, he is down about 5 laps now, as we're waiting for we're waiting for Aaron Mack to come across the start-finish line to conclude stage number 1 here, as he comes out of turn number 4. Race Control having their finger on the button. Out of turn 2. Race Control having their finger on the button, getting ready to throw. It looks like Bennett Allen is going to win stage number 1, waiting for Aaron Mack to come across the line, as the battle just about over here for stage 1. And there's your first caution of the evening. It's a competition caution, and stage 1 has been concluded. Bennett Allen brings home the green and white checkered flag, followed by Brandon Minto, R.P. Allen, John Crow Sr., Cody McCorkle, Rich Jett, Nick Hansen, Ethan Ball, John Wilco, and Aaron Mack. All 10 of those drivers going to be awarded bonus points, which of course go toward our playoff standings here. We'll talk about playoff bonus points, so on and so forth, as we get through the night. But right now we want to take a quick moment here to check in with Bennett Allen. Hey Bennett, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yep. What's going on, Dave?
Well, it just looks like we're going to continue our tradition where you win a stage break or you win a stage of the race, and I pull you up here into the booth and you tell me the car feels great.
Car feels all right. Got in the wall a couple times there. With the Xfinity car the way it is right now, you get in the wall here, you're going to lose a tenth or two. So, and also upsets the balance of the race car. So I'm just going to manage that for what it is. I'm going to try to tighten it here while I'm talking to you. But, I mean, the same setup's pretty good. I'm really proud of the guys over there who make their setups. And, repping the Mountaineers this week and last week. They didn't really have a great showing against the Nittany something Lions on Saturday night, but that's okay. I wasn't expecting
Really,
a
you're gonna talk trash on the Nittany Lions then?
I'm not. We lost by a minute.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't go to Penn State. I just happen to live here, and
yeah,
they're not that impressive to me. They're usually overrated.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that their preseason rating was 7 surprised me. So, Neil Brown, I'm a firm believer in firing that man. He's not the greatest head coach. We all miss Dana Holgerson. I was on Twitter the whole time while I was watching the game doing hashtag fire Neil Brown. 3 or 4 trick plays when we're down by 2 scores or even 1 score, like the game was within reach.
That was almost worthy of Art Briles.
Yeah, it was bad. I'm really disappointed in that, but West Virginia's a basketball school, so I'm really not worried about football season, and more worried about my Detroit Lions this year, who play on Thursday night.
You're worried about them? You know that they're not going to make the playoffs. What's the big deal?
No, I have a feeling that we'll win the NFC North this year. So,
well, okay, reckless speculation, as they would say on the Dan Le Batard show with Stu Gatz.
Reckless. Did you see our final not ranking, but our final record last year? 9-8. Our first winning season in 10 years.
I did, and I'm not saying that it's not possible, and I'm only going to break your stones over it until the end of the season here, but I'm telling you right now, it's Detroit. They will find a way to lose.
Oh, I know. My dad has prepared for this moment my whole life. Our saying in the family is typical Lions. They always find a way to lose it in the fourth quarter. So,
buddy, I bleed little blue stars. I know how it feels.
but we'll see what happens. Talking about the race, Darlington's a pretty difficult track. It strains you a lot mentally. You have to focus 24/7 for all 147 laps. So these stage breaks are kind of nice to kind of unwind a little bit, relax. So I fixed up the damage from me slamming the wall. It was 3 seconds of damage, more than I thought. Before you let me go, I'm just going to say this. I am crossing my fingers for 2 things in this new build: rain and a damage model for these darn D cars.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, hopefully the iRacing.com gods heard you there, but congrats on the Stage 1 win. We're going to get you back up to the Money House chat, and good luck the rest of the way, brother.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, sir. As always, glad to be able to talk to our stage winners here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. And just as we get ready to go back underway, looks like Brandon Minto going to have control of the field with John Crow Sr. and John Wilco in tow, as this is the highest that we've seen John Wilco early on in a race in quite some time. So Brandon Minto watches the iRacing.com pace car dive on down pit road. He's going to have control of the field on the inside line. They get ready to enter the Geico restart zone. The green flag waves, and we are back underway at Darlington Raceway. Speaking of Bennett Allen, side by side he goes with John Wilco, slicing through the field like a hot knife through butter as he, nearly shoves Crow up into the wall. Smoke, but no fire as everybody gets around Crow. That's not going to make him very happy, as now Crow is side by side with Big Brother RP. And they go back single file. We're going to start to watch these drivers try to make some hay in the single file, parade here. And I'll tell you what, at a place like Darlington, working single file is just about the only way that you can boogie around this joint, as there are 12 cars on the lead lap. Now it looks like Bennett Allen is going to challenge for the lead here. And it's not much of a challenge, as he just blew the doors off of Brandon Minto, as Minto getting the run on the high side out of turn 4, holding his ground. That's going to open the door, though, as he's able to snatch the nose right off of the 15. Folks, we're going to keep it right here on this battle, because I'll tell you what, this is going to be fast and furious. Bennett catching a little bit of a draft off the rear bumper of the 12. We don't often get to see Oklahoma University and West Virginia University do battle, but here they are, killing it. Oddly enough, the last time that West Virginia played Oklahoma, they hosted the Sooners in Morgantown, and that was November 12th, 2022, and the West Virginia Mountaineers beat the Sooners 23-20. So obviously it was last year, but not a long-standing rivalry by any stretch of the term, as Brandon Minto just opened up the gap to 3/4 of a second. Bennett Allen suddenly struggling a little bit as he's being challenged by John Wilco, who suddenly lets RP Allen slip by. Maybe John Wilco wanting to save some of the tires here on that Florida Atlantic University number 62 Ford Blue Oval Mustang. Cody McCorkle holding his own, up 6 positions from where he had started, running right now in 9th, so he would be getting some bonus points at the end of the stage break if he makes it there. Of course, stage 2 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 90. We're going to take a quick look here at our track conditions. Still 83 degrees in the stands, but the track cooled off about 6 degrees, which can make all the difference in the world, especially when you're looking for grip in this asphalt. And I mean, it's really interesting to see here is those seams there, those tar seams that have been filled in over the years from cracks and so on and so forth, those seams are slippery as all get out. So we're going to start to see some of these drivers try to avoid them like the plague. Even as somebody like Brandon Minto is up here just absolutely hammering it. We can take a look at his dashboard. He goes into the turn with about 170 miles per hour into 3 and 4. He carries that down to 140 miles per hour and rolls out to get back on the throttle. Going to take a look here at Davis Warren and see what's going on with him. Davis Warren in the 52, about to be passed by the 91, that's Zachary Vaughn. As Zach looks to get underneath him, and they make contact, and oddly enough, because of the width of this, it took quite a while before the yellow flag came out. So under caution for the first time for cause tonight. And I've been dying to ask him this all night, so we're going to see if we can get a hold of Chris Claude, Chief Cook and Bottle Washer of the SNN Cup Series. Hey, Chris, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I've got you, Dave.
Chris, a question has been burning in my heart all night long for you. What is with this bow tie on the front of your traditional Toyota?
Didn't get a paint for the Toyotas for the Tennessee team that I was planning on running, so had to switch manufacturers for one night.
So for one night and one night only, you are a Chevrolet Camaro driver.
Yeah, I can't say I'm enjoying it too much either. I don't think it has anything to do with it, but I know the car has not been performing as well as I'd like for it to.
Well, I got a little worried, and as I was watching the other guys with their college paint schemes, I thought, everybody else pretty much stayed with their manufacturer, and in a league that's already very Chevy heavy, I mean, just one Toyota in the field tonight, you kind of left John Crow Sr. hanging on his own.
Yeah, but I'll be back in the Toyota next week and for the foreseeable future.
All right, buddy. Well, listen, we will let you go. Have a good run the rest of the way, as you're right now sitting in 14th position, down just a lap. So get that lap back and get out there and run.
That's what I'm going to try to do.
Thank you, sir, as we're going to move him back on up here into the Joe Gibbs Racing stable. Of course, I see Alex Gangler up there as well. But he, of course, you know what? And in fact, now that I'm thinking of it, let's take a look here at Alexander Gangler's paint scheme in the 8, as he is usually in a Toyota Supra. So let's see what's going on. Maybe this is some kind of a shakeup in the Joe Gibbs Racing stable. Hey, Alexander, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Oh, I do. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm good, but listen, I mean, you and Chris both usually in Toyotas tonight. What gives with the bow tie?
There's only one paint scheme I could run. Same issue Chris did, where nothing for the Yoda and nothing for the Ford, so I had to go with the Chevy.
Ah, fair enough. Well, that's what I was starting to wonder, because you guys are usually very dedicated to that Toyota logo. It almost looks like a cowboy hat. I don't know what the Toyota logo is supposed to be.
Well, I don't think anyone knows.
All right, buddy. Well, listen, you go ahead and get some tires on that machine, and maybe we'll see you here mid-pack toward the end of stage 2.
Yeah, it's my first pit stop, so I have a good one there, Dave.
All righty. So we're going to send Alexander back up to the Joe Gibbs Racing chat. Going to go ahead and see what's going on here with Brandon Minto in the number 12 machine. When we get back, Green Flag Racing, it's going to be Brandon Minto, Nick Hansen, John Wilco, R.P. Allen, Bennett Allen, Rich Jett, and now I see John Crow Sr. heading down pit road. So that's going to shuffle up Ethan Ball into 8th position, Cody McCorkle into 9th, and Trent Curtis rounding out your top 10. 13 cars left on the lead lap as John Crow Sr. rolls off a pit road. Pretty much everybody having come down pit road now. Looks like oldest tires on the field going to belong to Dan Morgan, and Dan has had some bad luck when he's on the old tires, so we'll see if maybe he knows something that everybody else doesn't. Everybody else coming in on lap number 60. Of course, with so many extra sets of tires tonight, I'm sure we're going to see something exciting as the green flag waves. We're going to turn it up here on Sim Racing Media. You can really get a feel for how these drivers can be drafting right up against, as we just saw Bennett Allen catch a little bit of wall, a little bit of smoke there out of the back of the 15. But, you saw how Nick Hansen was right up there on the rear bumper of Bennett Allen, and all of a sudden just had to let it go because, unfortunately, one driver gets that really good run. And speaking of really good runs, Brandon Minto was battling it out with John Wilco for quite some time, and then was just suddenly able to drive away, and now he's got a 1.6 second lead over Wilco. Taking a look back here at Chris Clark and Trent Curtis now, as this little three-car knot is going to end in disaster if they don't get themselves figured out here, as Trent Curtis gets alongside 46 of Cody McCorkle. Another pair of Chevrolets going to battle All of a sudden, McCorkle now trying to chase him down by about a quarter of a second. 6-2, wow. What a run he gets on the 13. So now they're 4 and 5 in this group. All it takes is for one person to have a mistake. And speaking of mistakes, oh no, John Wilco may have been involved in one. We'll see John Wilco here with RP Allen in tow. And we'll see what might have brought that up. Oh! Wow. Yeah, that's rough on Wilco. Let's run this back and take another look at it. We'll take a look here from Preston, or RP Allen as he's more commonly known. We'll see if we can look at it right from inside of his cockpit. Oh, it just spins Wilco out of the way. That is not the way that anybody wants to end their evening. That's for sure, especially when you're sitting right there on the bubble of the points coming into this race. In fact, we'll see if we can get this from our drone cam. As we're going to see RP Allen just once again get right on the inside. Oh, and just spin Wilco out of the way. Catches right here from the starter cam. So that'll probably cycle RP Allen to the rear of the field after we saw just about enough, as that will give him the potential EOL, or end of line, if you will. As we're here on lap number 75 of 147, past the halfway point in this race, working our way toward lap number 90. Just the second caution for cause tonight, as we're going to see RP pull down here to the inside of the racetrack and allow the field to pass him. John Wilco getting some repairs done as the rear clip of that entire vehicle just completely obliterated. A little bit of bear bond on there to hold the car together. When we go back green flag racing, it'll be Brandon Minto and Bennett Allen here on row number 1, followed by Nick Hansen, Rich Jett, Aaron Mack, Ethan Ball, Trent Curtis, Cody McCorkle, Matt Mettler, and Dan Morgan rounding out your top 10. Mettler having qualified in 7th position, running in 9th right now. Mettler coming in for pit service, so he'll be on some pretty fresh shoes there on the 64. Go back green flag racing, we're going to see some of those lap times really hook up. Definitely looking like a Big 12 matchup here with West Virginia and Oklahoma on the front row. course, college football being a way of life everywhere in the South, and so many other, regions of our great nation. I'll tell you what, there is no place better to watch. I'll just come out and say it. The SEC should be nothing but a feeder league. I mean, the SEC is just a different breed all of its own. The Southeastern Conference having so many great programs and so on and so forth as the green flag waves were back underway. First off, none of those teams in the SEC is overrated. Your Notre Dames, your Penn States. Okay, wow. Brandon Minto getting way wild coming out of turn 2. Keeps it together. Side by side with Brandon Minto. A battle breaking out here on lap number 7. Minto clawing his way back up here to the lead, looking for any kind of an edge that he can get. Oh, making a little bit of contact maybe with the 15. And now all of a sudden out of nowhere, Bennett gets a run. And that just leaves Brandon Minto back in the dust, trying to get into that top line, trying to get back into the groove. And nobody is about to let Brandon Minto in there to run his line, because once Minto can get back into his line, there's almost no stopping him. And right now, Rich Jett holding him out. That opens the... Whoa, Rich Jett may be opening the door here as Aaron Mack gets right behind Minto. And there's Minto getting back in the line. So we're going to start to see him make some progress on a recovery drive. Trent Curtis looking for an edge over the 96. That's Ethan Ball in the 6. We can start to see some of these drivers settling into their grooves. They've gotten 81 laps in now. 13 drivers still on the lead lap, tailed off here by John Wilco of McAdoo, Pennsylvania. I always mention McAdoo, almost every time that I talk about John, just because it is the tiniest little town that most people would never be able to find, and it just so happens to be a place that I am very, very familiar with. Of course, good friends with the fire chief there, Bobby Leschko, and one of the favorite sons of McAdoo, Pennsylvania, his brother, Donnie Leschko, chief of the Hazleton, Pennsylvania Fire Department. Of course, McAdoo just a few miles away from Hazleton, Pennsylvania, which is the hometown of former Cubs World Series champion manager Joe Madden. No relation to John, that's for sure. Rich Jett trying to close in on Nick Hansen. We can see these lap times now. We'll look at the last times right here on our ticker across the top of your screen. The last times on some of these fresher tires, we can see Dan Morgan having run a 31.13, and even on old tires, Bennett Allen still outrunning him. Meanwhile, Matt Mettler running a 31.68, so still not as fast as Bennett Allen on older tires. So obviously, Bennett has something under the hood that, or maybe up his sleeve, if you will, that Mettler doesn't back here, as Mettler currently running a 32.26, so maybe he had a little run-in with the wall. But at this stage of the race, these drivers are just trying to get themselves, any kind of real estate with now 5 laps to go in stage number 2. As they run right now, it's Allen, Hansen, Jett, Minto, RP Allen on his recovery drive. Aaron Mack, Ethan Ball, Trent Curtis, Cody McCorkle, and Dan Morgan, your top 10 is Morgan. Also coming down on lap 74 for tires. He's running a 31.25 second lap. So still about a quarter second or 3/10 of a second behind Bennett Allen. Rich Jett running P2 with Nick Hansen in hot pursuit. Brandon Minto running in fourth. This little group right here is going to be something to keep an eye on, that's for sure, as we go right here to our drone cam. Oh my. That's Nick Hansen biting the wall. Definitely not what he wanted at that time, doing battle with Brandon Minto, as that opens the door for Rich Jett to put some distance between himself and Minto. But Nick Hansen not ready to let the battle end just yet. And even as we see our weather conditions, the track temperature down another 2 degrees here. Some more grip in the racetrack as we're just about at the conclusion of stage number 2. Bennett Allen beginning to run away with this one. As I thought maybe we'd see some kind of a competition out of Brandon Minto in stage 2. It looks like Minto satisfied just to hang back and keep that number 12 nice and shiny. Not a Darlington stripe on it yet. And of course, what we mean by the Darlington stripe is when one of these drivers, rubs up against the wall, that black stripe goes down the side of the car. Three-way battle here, breaking out for 7th position, for 8th position as Ethan Ball, Cody McCormick, and Dan Morgan trying to figure out who it's going to be. All of a sudden, Cody McCormick running the lead with 8th, but that leaves 9th position undetermined as we get ready to come back to the stripe. Side by side is Ethan Ball. As Dan Morgan gets around him, Ball going to the low side now. Oh! As we are under caution. What in the world was that? As it looks like Dan Morgan here at the end of stage 2 just ran out of talent here. We're going to take a look here at Dan Morgan. He's alongside Ethan Ball. They go into turn number 3. Dan gets down on the apron. Oh, and there it is. The 13 was the impetus of this one. As the 13, let's see if we can dial him up here. We'll see if we can figure out what happened here with Trent Curtis. Pursuit of RP Allen. Oh, there's. Oh, my. Well, that's not going to bode well, as here at the end of this stage now, the 99 getting a piece of RP Allen. As we switch to the view right here, we can see RP just getting into that left rear quarter panel of the 99. And of course, RP back here sideways. As that happens, we see the 13 get into his side, and somehow RP now coming out of there unscathed, if you will. Hey, Bennett, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
What's up, Dave?
2 stage wins in a row, huh?
Yeah, just racking up those playoff points, getting ready for playoffs, really. That's the way I want to execute that.
Now, I got to know, and we were just watching it here on the replay. How's Preston feeling right about now?
He's pissed.
I feel like
He's
that's
mad.
probably the understatement of the night.
He told me that they were blocking pretty bad, and it's funny. I was the one who set the statement on blocking in this league. We were talking about that in the Discord, how many rules I've created. But there's a point to where you block a lot. I mean, we saw it in the Cup race last night with Alex Bowman and Daniel Suarez. So feel bad for Preston because he kind of needs a win right now, and sucks. But what can I do? I'm running my race. He's running his.
Oh, trust me, I know. I didn't want to drop into his headset, that's for sure, as I'm sure there's nothing but four-letter words flying out of there. None of them are love.
None of them. Not a single one.
Well, listen. Oh, Jesus. Hold on a second. I've got the wrong... Oh, how that happened. There we go. Well, I mean, listen. I was talking about it earlier. The last time West Virginia and Oklahoma met in college football was last year in November, and West Virginia beating Oklahoma 23-20. So I'm expecting to see a pretty similar competition tonight between you and Brandon Minto.
Yeah, me and him have been talking about the Big 12. Right before we went green, I was about to say over the radio, it's not the Big 12, it's the Big 36. Because we're about to get we're getting so many people from all over the place. But I've heard a lot of rumors about, why not doesn't, the Power 5 schools just separate into 3 different conferences. I kind of agree with that. But we're about to go green here, so I'm going to let you do your thing.
You go do your thing. Good luck, buddy.
Thanks.
We're going to send him back there. Back green flag racing. Brandon Minto going to lead the field back to green as he last came down on lap number 91, so everybody getting fresh tires this time around with the exception of Davis Warren. All kinds of hits here at the start-finish line. My goodness. The 96 is around the 31, the 10, the 8. Oh my, what a bad restart this was. Let's see what happened. See if we can try to... As it looks like the 99 just gave everybody a shove. I believe we had our chopper cam right over that. We'll see if that's the way that it went. So we're going to watch the 99. We'll try to see. Maybe he spun the tires there on the restart. As we may be able, one more here, to get even closer. As we had, yep, here it is. As we're going to go right here, almost video game style, to this cam, the cable cam coming out. And we're going to see Chris Claude just come down into the 31 somehow by accident. Obviously, we'll have to go here into the cockpit of the 10 and see if we can figure out if he spun those tires or not. Because, my goodness, that's definitely not the way that you wanted to start that one. Especially at the beginning of the stage, playoff points on the line and everything else we have going on. Yeah, it doesn't look like it was intentional. It's just maybe a little flick of the foot on the throttle, and that was enough to bring him down on there. So obviously not the way that we wanted to start stage 2, as that puts a heck of a lot of people on pit road. 50 laps to go here at Darlington Raceway in beautiful Darlington, South Carolina. About 2.5 hours to Myrtle Beach. Just a hop, skip, and a jump to Florence, where Dale Earnhardt Jr. last night was under, it seems like maybe he had the same conditions that I have, where he had a little bit of a sinus thing, a head cold, whatever it is. But Dale Jr. was running in the Cars Late Model Series. And I'll tell you what, if you get a chance to see the clip on Instagram of him post-race and just getting back to Darlington to call the Xfinity Series, he was just completely wiped. And I mean, you know, you see so many of these drivers, whether retired or active, you know, a lot of these guys are racing more than just on Saturday or Sunday. I mean, you know, there are still fellas like Kenny Schrader, who's all but 70, if I remember correctly, who's racing 3 and 4 nights a week on dirt, asphalt, you name it. Anything with 4 wheels, these guys are out here driving. And I'll tell you what, I don't blame them. I know that, you know, getting out here on the track is a lot of fun. And even for me, since hanging up the racing gloves, you know, it's something that, you know, somebody enjoys. And it's definitely something that these guys in real life can have a lot of fun doing. And, you know, obviously Dale Earnhardt, Hall of Famer, still wants to go out there and compete. The only difference is, for some of us, you got to know when to hang it up and do what you're good at, because I certainly was not the kind of driver that should be out here competing with these guys. Brandon Minto brings the field out of turn number 4. The man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. He waves it, and we're back underway. Clean restart this time as everybody quickly gets single file. 48 laps to go as Brandon Minto leads this piece. Rich Jett in close pursuit. Ben Allen just behind RP, challenging yet again as he gets around the 62 of John Wilcox. Ben Allen just ran the fastest lap, well, the fastest half lap through the second half of this racetrack, 15.39 seconds. The same as Rich Jett. Folks, we're going to step aside here on Sim Racing Media Pace and Bills. I'm Dave Riedel. This is the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, brought to you by A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance. this battle right now that Ethan Ball is in with Mike McConville. I'm sorry, with Alexander Gangler. And now we shift back here as the 13 of the battle here. Because right now they're both down a lap, so this is for position. Side by side on lap 108, 40 to go. Here at Darlington. Underneath Alexander Gangler. Ooh, Curtis gets loose. Well, that pretty much takes care of that battle for the time being. As enter Chris Claude, the last car on the lead lap. As he's now going to get behind Trent Curtis. And being the last car in the lead lap right now, Chris just wants to try to log some laps. Whoa! Near disaster between Brandon Minto and Ben Williams. Ben came through here like he had nitrous running through his veins. Getting around Minto. Ben and Allen, your race leader, followed by Brandon Minto and Rich Jett. This little three-car pack pulling away from the rest of the field as Cody McCorkle, running in fourth position, trails Rich Jett by 2.6 seconds and then some. Still on his recovery drive after two incidents at the end of each of the previous stages. Netted him a couple of EOLs at restart. John Wilson running in sixth position right now. He's up 10 spots from where he had begun. Rich Jett and Cody McCorkle, the biggest movers of the night, each up 11 positions combined. Aaron Mack running in seventh position right now. We see him here in the 31 after that incident with Chris Claude making his way back up through the field. Nick Hansen of the 99, nearly a victim of wrong place, wrong time with Chris Claude and Aaron Mack. Running right now in eighth position. Matt Mettner doing his best to keep it calm as he must be having some kind of connection issues. Mike McConville Jr. running currently in 10th position, down about 5 positions from where he had begun. And Ethan Ball and Chris Claude running in 11th and 12th position. Of course, Ethan Ball early on in his career here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, running that Celsius paint scheme in a Chevrolet. And of course, Chris Claude, not in his normal Toyota Supra, decided to come out and run the Tennessee Volunteers paint scheme tonight, that orange and white deal. These three musketeers atop the pile, and Bennett Allen, Brandon Minto, and Rich Jett, setting themselves apart from the rest of the field. Starting to see a lot of these lap times really string themselves out. As the great Tony Trapasso says, these guys are more strung out than folks in line in the methadone clinic. As RP Allen running in 6th position, trying to get up to the rear bumper of John Wilco. Wilco is perfectly content up here running top 5. I'll tell you what, folks, watching Brandon Minto try to match the pace of Bennett Allen is impressive. They're only running laps about 700th of a second apart. Rich Jett actually running 200th of a second faster than Minto. And so far, these are the 3 drivers fastest in the field tonight. Bennett Allen, though, running consistent 31.68 second laps twice in a row now. Laps to go here at the stripe as Bennett Allen crosses. He's getting ready to put Alexander Gangler down another lap here. Whoa! As the rear end of the 15 steps out from behind him. Nearly disaster. But Bennett Allen just proved why he is the 2022 reigning Xfinity Series champion, as he was able to corral the rear end of the 15 before bad things happened. Three drivers in a row up 11 positions from where they had qualified. Rich Jett, Cody McCorkle, and John Wilco. The double match with the 46 and the 62. Running 3-4-5 right now on our leaderboard. They're expecting at least one of them to try to get up here and battle for this lead with now 23 laps to go. Sorry, folks, had to do a little bit of real-world stuff. Had to put an IT ticket in here. Dragon, glad to have with you, as you apparently are a Texan turncoat. And, I mean, the Cowboys generally suck from about week 9 on, but I get it. I believe Little Blue Stars, but really that's just to get me to the next baseball season. Brandon Minto, Rich Jett, your top 3 right now. And Bennett Allen has opened up a nearly 3-second lead over Brandon Minto, who's got 6/10 between himself and Rich Jett. And then 2 1/4 seconds back to Cody McCorkle with 18 to go now at Darlington Raceway. This is something that we just don't see very much of, where Darlington goes as clean as it is. You know, usually, I shouldn't say usually, but a lot of times you can see races at Darlington turn into complete wreck fests. And unfortunately, well, fortunately for these drivers, this is not a caution festival by any stretch of the term. However, unfortunately, without that many cautions, we have fewer cars on the lead lap, as there are just 7 now. When we went back green after the last caution, we had 13 on the lead lap. And Bennett Allen has absolutely shown himself to be a very skilled driver as he boogies around this piece yet again. And Bennett Allen already has 3 wins on the season. He trails Brandon Minto by points, as Brandon Minto has just 1 win on the season, but Brandon's also got 15 top 5s and 19 top 10s, whereas Bennett's got 3 wins, 10 top 5s, and 11 top 10s. So maybe not as consistent. And for those of us that are familiar with the old NASCAR 99 game, one of the things that they used to have Benny Parsons chatter about when they, in the simulated play-by-play and commentary, was consistency, consistency, consistency. That's what wins championships. And obviously, Brandon Minto climbing the leaderboard with no wins on the season, you know, up until last week at Daytona International Speedway, proved that's still how you can, you know, get yourself up here into playoff contention. Obviously, when we go playoff racing, things will become drastically different, as the points will be set for the top 12 drivers. And as we mentioned earlier on tonight, you know, those top 12 drivers, the last driver in that top 12 is John Wilco. So curious to see where tonight's run for McAdoo, Pennsylvania's pride can do. And Dragon, let's see, what tracks do I want to see next year? Well, I've always wanted to get to Homestead, Miami. I've always wanted to get to Chef Benny Parsons, yeah. those were good days on the old EA Sports NASCAR games. It was just a lot of fun to drive. But anyway, what tracks do I want to see next year? I assume that you mean in person. I'd of course like to get to Dover, as I didn't get there this year. Pocono is on my list. But you know, always in my heart is Daytona International Speedway. I'm always curious if I could make it in February to see the 500. I'd like to go once before my heart stops beating. I just feel like it would be a lot of fun. And of course, when you think about going to do, especially the big races like Daytona, you know, you can always use one of those travel agencies, you know, where you can make payments on it, get yourself all settled in. So all you have to do the day that it's time to go is show up and get on the plane. I keep looking at onlocationexp.com. They seem to have their act together as far as getting you to and from the races. Of course, they've got a whole bunch of events that they run every year. But, you know, for something as important as the Daytona 500, I feel like I would want to use one of those services. So all you have to do is get on the plane and have a good time. Speaking of having a good time, Bennett Allen has now opened up a second lead over Brandon Minto and Cody McCorkle, as McCorkle now trails Minto by almost 5 seconds. Rich Jett running in 4th position. John Wilco running comfortably in 5th, and right now all he has to do is bring it home nice and easy, does it, as Francis Albert Sinatra would say. Bennett Allen has control of the field as we have now 8 to go at Darlington Raceway. Of course, one of the hardest things about getting yourself to and from big events like Daytona or the 500 is your air travel. And of course, people know when I say people, I mean airlines know when demand is about to go sky high. And I mean, even at a place like Spirit Airlines, which is generally what I like to fly, I mean, $423 one way just to get there. And of course, coming home probably about the same. And as I click around, yep. So nearly $900 just in airfare. And I mean, for most people, that's a lot of money. I don't care who you are. Of course, at the opposite end of the spectrum, you can always take Amtrak, because there are 4 laps to go here. Amtrak at $176 to get to Daytona is not a bad price at all. And then, of course, coming home, coming home about the same. But I did Amtrak down to Orlando last year, and what a good time. I mean, just a really good experience. 3 laps to go as Bennett Allen gets ready to head on back toward the start-finish line as he comes through turn number 3 and 4. I'm sorry, turns 1 and 2 once again as he goes down the Boeing backstretch. Yes, I did see that the guy who sang All-Star passed away today. Bennett Allen crossing the start-finish line. The popsicle sticks go in the air. 2 to go. Brandon Minto crossing. That brings across Cody McCorkle. Barring anything crazy, we should see the white flag next as Bennett Allen just 5 cars left on the lead lap. Bennett Allen not going to get to put John Wilco down a lap. So John Wilco will run all 147 laps. The popsicle sticks go down. The white flag is in the air. We're racing back to checkers. John Wilco has about 7 seconds to Rich Jett. He's about 17 seconds to Mike McConville Jr. So obviously that's not very hotly contested. This race going to end pretty quietly as Bennett Allen comes down the Boeing backstretch. Once more, he gets around the lap car of Trent Curtis. Curtis drops down out of the way, allows Bennett by. And for the fourth time this season, the number 15 JCTV broadcasting West Virginia Mountaineers Chevrolet Camaro crosses the start-finish line, and Bennett Allen is your race winner tonight here in the Locklear Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series right here on Sim Racing Media. And of course, as Bennett Allen is going to be celebrating here, we're going to pull Bennett Allen here up into the broadcast booth. Hey, Bennett, it's Dave. You got me?
What's going on, Dave?
You hear what's going on. I mean, there you are, bringing home win number 4 of the season for the JCTV Chevrolet Camaro. Obviously, you had control of this field. What is the secret to getting to boogie around this piece?
Just first of all, huge thanks to Zeem Setup Shop. They brought me onto their team a couple months ago, and they've just been a really good help. Their setups are really, really fast, and it's just great to be a part of the setup shop. They work really hard, and we actually all work together on the Kansas set for next week. So I'm really excited for that setup too. But the Lady in Black is pretty difficult, man. It's a hard racetrack. It takes a lot of mental power, a lot of focus, and I was trying to stay locked in the whole race. And that's really hard to do when you have your own brother in your Discord trying to, distract you and whatnot. But, just overall, it's great to get the Mountaineers a win this week. They didn't do it last week. And, it's just great to win. I've been hoping to get this 4th one for a while. I've had a couple close calls at road courses. At Daytona, it's just, a lot of those racetracks are unpredictable, and so to get back on a mile and a half and get a win is great, and it's just fun. I had fun tonight.
Well, and it's not just any mile and a half; it's Darlington. I mean, if you're gonna notch your belt, at least make it at a place like this.
Exactly. It's kind of I know it's iRacing, but it's kind of a cool thing to win at Darlington in a league race, and to add that to the tracks I've won. It's just fun. I kind of fell short earlier this year when I was racing Joseph, and so to finally get one back is nice. So, I'm happy. It's been a pretty decent day.
As you should be. All right, my friend. Well, listen, before we let you get out of here, who do you need to thank for tonight's win besides your setup shop?
Yeah, like I said, Zeems and JCTV, me and Josh are still pretty close friends. We've had some issues with other leagues I've been in, so, me and him still stay close. And, of course, B-Blaze Vintage, there's always some little thing about him being on my car that causes me to win, so huge thanks to him and him being a good friend as well, and everyone at Money House. They're not as prominent in this league anymore, but, I'm still here as a representative and, trying to carry the name of Money House Racing well, and also the name on my hood, not my hood, my windshield and all that, carrying a lot.
You say that Money House isn't as prominent in this league, but I'm looking. I just pulled up our point standings right now, and it looks like 4 of you in the top 12 are running under the Money House flag.
Yeah, but Joseph stepped away, and so that kind of hurt our team a little bit. But we still have me, Aaron, and Preston who show up on a regular basis, and then other people who show up every once in a while. So, but yeah, we really only race Xfinity now since Joseph dropped out of the trucks. So, but still representing, the name well. And I say this every time I win, but we got to give glory to God because it's not possible without Him. And I'm really thankful to be able to do this as a hobby, and that kind of blow off some steam when I'm having a bad day. So, it's always fun to go in the Nürburgring in the stock car and just rip laps because you're angry. So,
No,
but
trust
yeah.
me, I totally understand that.
So, thank you, Dave, for broadcasting. Always, I like having a broadcast to watch after the race is over. So I really do appreciate it.
Of course, now, as always, I appreciate the kind words, but congratulations tonight, and we'll see you next week at Kansas.
Yes, sir.
All right, that, of course, the voice of the great Bennett Allen, younger brother of RP Allen, who had kind of a rough night, but right now we want to get in touch here with Brandon Minto, driver of the number 12 Oklahoma Sooners Chevrolet Camaro. Hey, Brandon, it's Dave. You got me?
Yes, sir. I got you, Dave.
Hey, listen, man, great run tonight. I mean, you just didn't have enough to get up there to Bennett tonight. I mean, this is kind of one of those tracks where once you get into that groove, you never want to come out of it. What was the secret to boogieing around this place for you tonight?
Making sure I just braked early. That was pretty much it. Like I talked about before the race, I wanted to try to save the right front. The first two stages I did pretty well at it, but then right there for that last stage, my right front burn down was down to 49% and right rear was at 70. So I was using the right front way too much. But yeah, just getting in a rhythm around Darlington is pretty much all you got to do. The toughest part though was just all the lapped cars. Like they were trying their best to stay out of the way, but with Darlington with such a small racing surface, it's always tough, and I just kept hitting them at the wrong times.
Yeah, you look at Darlington, and even here as we're floating above the racetrack in our blimp cam, it looks like a big racetrack, but it really is a small racing surface. You say it perfectly. Even in turns 3 and 4, you almost get distorted because you think, oh, there's more room down there, and there's really not.
Yeah, and you see like the cup cars and everything. I don't know how much they did it too much last night, but because I was more focused, I was watching like Brad Keselowski's on board and everything. But like in the past, you can see the cup cars like going down there, and you've seen the Xfinity cars use that apron a little bit. But on here, if you get below that white line, you are spinning out. So like there'd be a couple times I'd try to go down and touch the white line to get a little more rotation in the car, but I knew if I went too much farther down below it, I was spinning out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, tonight was definitely one of those races where it was, drive to survive, so to speak. And now next week we turn our attention to Kansas Speedway. So what are you thinking at a place like Kansas?
I love Kansas. I'm hoping. I know last year the setups at Kansas were great. We tend to use VRS. This year the VRS sets haven't been up to par, so we've been using a lot of last year's stuff. So hopefully hopefully those setups. Sorry about that. Hopefully those setups still work next week, and we can have a good run there.
Absolutely. Well, listen, before we cut you loose here in the Palmetto State, who do you need to thank for this run?
Yeah, my parents tuning in every single week. Always want to give a shout out to them. My Uncle Scott up in Michigan tuning in. Got to give a big shout out to my friends. I'm actually on a training right now for the Air Force. I'm down in Altus, Oklahoma, so I'm not currently down in San Antonio, and they let me move all my racing stuff to their house. So I want to give a big shout out to them.
Nice.
And then want to give a shout out to you for putting on a great broadcast, and then Chris for putting on this league. I know he's going to have a lot to review after this race. I heard a lot of arguing going on, so always got to give a shout out to Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes being a league admin is one of the thankless jobs. So, but thank you for your time, and congratulations on the win. And as always, I feel like I don't say it enough, but thank you for your service, and we'll see you next week at Kansas.
I appreciate it. See you there.
That, of course, Brandon Minto finishing in second position. Last but not least, but our first here, or a first here in our broadcast booth, Cody McCorkle out of Stanley, North Carolina, makes it to the podium. Hey, Cody, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Loud and clear.
Hey, man, listen, congrats here on the podium finish out of all places, the Lady in Black Darlington Raceway. How are you feeling tonight after this run?
I'm definitely exhausted. It was a long race.
Yeah, it's a long race, and by the end, your shoulders are killing you, your hands are killing you. This track is enough not only for the cars to take it, but for the drivers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, and this thing I had underneath me was so loose at the beginning of the run, just trying to keep it underneath me just to get to the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and this league, as you discovered tonight, in your own bow tie, is very Chevy heavy. I mean, just 3 cars that weren't Chevrolets out on the field. Obviously, there was something to be said about that tonight. Did you notice anything, good handling about the Chevrolet or no?
Uh, my car, man. Once we got about 10 laps in, it was smooth sailing. Just knock down the laps, try to run some people down.
Absolutely. You'll have to forgive me for my voice tonight. I'm a little scratchy as I'm just getting back from some kind of a sinus nose thing. Who knows? But listen, congrats on the run. Who do you need to thank tonight before we cut you loose?
Huge shout out to the JAR TCR team. Putting some good cars out there, some good looking cars out there as well.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations on the podium finish. We'll see you next week at Kansas.
Appreciate it.
Well, folks, as always, it looks like we've got another one in the books here for the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series right here on Sim Racing Media. And before we get out of here, we want to take one final look at our race results. Of course, just 19 drivers took the green flag tonight. Bennett Allen brings home the checkered flag, though. He's joined on the podium by Brandon Minto and Cody McCorkle. Rich Jett finishes in 4th position with John Wilco from McAdoo, Pennsylvania, getting the strong finish that he needed tonight in 5th. 6th position belongs to Mike McConville Jr. Aaron Mack finishes in 7th with Chief Cook and Bottle Washer of the SNN Cup Series, Chris Claude, in 8th. Ethan Ball finishes in 9th, and Trent Curtis rounds out your top 10. Alexander Gangler finishes in 11th, with Ron Fitting and Dan Morgan in 12th and 13th. R.P. Allen finishes in 14th, with Matt Metler in 15th. Nick Hansen and Davis Warren finish in 16th and 17th. John Crow Sr. finishes in 18th. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Zachary Vaughn, after just 60 laps, finishes in 19th position on the evening. So a rough night for Zach Vaughn. And, of course, also another rough night for R.P. Allen after some scuffles. But little brother Bennett Allen brings home the checkered flag, and that will be the story that carries us through to next week right here on Sim Racing Media as we go green flag racing at 8:30 p.m. next Monday night from Kansas Speedway. And for everybody here at SRM, I want to thank you for making us a part of your evening, because without you folks at home, we would have no one to talk to, and we just, cannot be more thankful for everything that you folks at home do for us. So until next time, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. And remember that tomorrow, you're special. There's no one else like you, and that's fine by me. Good night, everybody.